Hi, I'm Dame Eleanor, and today we're going to be dressing a distaff. This is a distaff that I made, and it's more or less a replica of what I have seen in manuscript illustrations. I'm not any kind of a woodworker, so I just made it up as I went along. There's a knob on the top, and then I have bits of semi-round cane that are nailed on to kind of form a cage, and that's supposed to support the flax fiber. And this is a strick of flax. This is a commercial strick. And it weighs about 4 ounces. It comes like this in a little package. I order mine online. It's become increasingly difficult to actually find good quality flax strick. Flax roving is not the same. Flax roving has been all chopped up in little pieces. And if you understand anything about the nature of flax, it is the fact that it's a long line fiber. You see, the fiber, that's the entire length of the plant, from blossom to root. So when you harvest it, you pull up the entire body of the plant. And it has about the texture and quality of hair. So this is a strick, and we're going to take it and we're going to arrange it so that we can dress the distaff with it. So I'm taking a bit of grosgrain ribbon here and roughly finding the middle of it. And then just tie that around one end of your flax strick, and that's just to sort of keep it all together. Once you've got that done, I'm going to tie it around my waist, and this just holds it in a stable position while I work with it. So your tape obviously needs to be long enough to go around you several times. Alright, so we're going to divide this up, and you can see it kind of breaks into natural separations. These are undoubtedly segments that have been put together to make one full strick. So just dividing it up, a little bit here, a little bit there. And then we're going to work with one section at a time. This one we can divide into 3 pieces. Maybe 4. Okay, we'll just put those all to one side for right now. And working with just one piece at a time, lay it out in front of you, and then spread it out, fan it out in a fairly thin layer across your tabletop. And what this is doing is, as one layer is laid upon another in kind of a crisscross fashion, it enables you to pull the fiber out, kind of continuously feed from the distaff as you're spinning. And so we just spread it out back and forth on top of itself, making a nice fairly even layer. Not too fussy about it, you don't have to be too precious about it. The idea is to get it spread out and distributed more or less evenly. This is only one of many methods of dressing the distaff. There are lots of ways of preparing it, and here I'm explaining how the fibers crisscross, and so that it'll draft. So then taking the next section, again very thin layer. If some of you are as old as I am, you might remember something called angel hair, which was, I think, actually spun glass, but they used to sell it as a Christmas tree decoration, and you would open it out like that and pull it into this thin sheet, and it would make the lights kind of make beautiful halos. Anyway, this rather reminds me of that, how you sort of pull and stretch and spread the fibers out. It's kind of hard to reach because the strick itself is about 1 meter long, so it's hard to reach the end of it with your arms because your arms are not as long as that. So we just keep continuing to work our way across one segment at a time, spreading it out, distributing it gently, one layer on top of another layer. Sometimes a bit of it will come off, and just take that off. But you see, you have all of this length of the fiber. That one single fiber runs that entire 1 meter length. And that's why, one of the reasons why flax is so strong, and also why it can be spun so very, very finely, because you have such a long staple. Most wool staples are about 3 to 4 inches. You know, some are 6, 8 inches for different type of breeds, but or like a Soe or something like that. But generally speaking, your staple length is much shorter. And staple length is the length of the fiber from one end to the other. And speaking of that, flax does not have scales on it in the way that wool does. Wool has a natural tendency for one fiber to cling to another because there are scales on either side of the shaft that interlock, and it causes the fibers to just naturally want to bond together. Flax isn't that way. Flax is a cellulose fiber, and it's fairly slick. However, it does have a coating on it, and that's one of the things that you discover when you're spinning it, that you get moisture on it and it will kind of smooth the fibers together. It's a very strange beast. It's one of my favorite fibers to spin. I really like it better than almost anything else. We're almost done. We're just getting down to the last of it here. You've heard the expression flaxen-haired. If you look at the fiber, you can see that it very much looks like hair. It even feels like hair. And matter of fact, my hair was that exact same color at one point in my life. And keep distributing it and spreading it out, backwards and forwards, layer after layer. And I'm getting better at this process. It's what I'm talking about here is the process of beating the fibers, and how the technology for processing flax fiber is very much unchanged. It's done now very much the way it's always been done, even if you have technology involved. And one of the things that you do is scotch the fiber. And what this is after you've broken the outside hull off the fiber, then you knock it off some more with what's called a scotching board or a sword. And all that does is just, it runs down the fiber and kind of helps you knock off the chaff and the boon from the outside of the fiber itself. Well, they automated the process so that you have something akin to an airplane propeller that goes round, so you have multiple swords spinning quickly and bashing against a scotching board, and then they would flip the fiber end over end into the machine so that the blades could beat against it and knock off the boon and the chaff. And it always rather horrified me, thinking there must have been some dreadful injuries if anything went wrong with equipment like that. Now what we do is, after you've got it all tied together and all spread out and distributed, then untie it from your waist, and then we're going to roll it around the distaff as well as possible. So we're just rolling the distaff actually in the flax to try to get it distributed more or less evenly around the outside of the distaff. Make it look fairly neat and tidy. Again, you don't have to be too precious about it, but you sort of get a feeling for, whether it's even or not. And you do want to take some care in prepping like this so that your fiber flows easily and comfortably off of the distaff when you're spinning. So then we take the excess ribbon and we crisscross it down the entire length of the distaff, crossing it over, not pulling it too tight, just to kind of hold the mass together and keep it from blowing away in the breeze, because a breeze will just cause it to fly about all over the place. So when you're spinning flax, you do want to do it in a still place, and you want to do it in a dry place, because, as I say, moisture will cause the fibers to stick to each other at this stage of the game because they have this gummy sort of substance on the outside of them. So then you just tie it off in a bow, and that's it. Our strick is ready to be spun.